All right, what's going on, guys? And today we have our 2023 Yamaha Superjet, and we're going to be applying a ceramic coating to the ski today. I've had a couple comments asking how to apply one and which one we use, so I'll go into all that and some of the products that I like and use in my detailing arsenal. All right, so before we dive in on how to ceramic coat the ski, I wanted to touch on all the other detailing products that we use with the skis that I really like. So after every ride, we spray them down with this Meguiar's Last Touch spray detailer. It's really good stuff, and it's pretty cheap, especially when you buy it in the gallon. You can dilute it 1-to-1, and it makes 2 gallons. We are going to be trying a different ceramic coating today, but that's just because that's what I have on hand. I did like the CarPro UK 3.0 a lot, and it's lasted many years on our Kawasaki SXR and our T-Stroke Superjets. But the coating we're going to be applying today is the Cerakote. See if I can, yeah, there we go. The Cerakote Professional Ceramic Coating. It's supposed to be a lot easier to apply, because that's like the one gripe I did have about the CarPro UK 3.0, is that it was a really pain in the butt to get off. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in on how to ceramic coat your ski. And when applying a ceramic coating, it's all about the prep work for it to properly adhere to the paint. So you always want to go through the stages of washing it, and then you'll clay bar it, and then you'll polish. And then after you polish, you'll want to apply a IPA solution to the paint to remove any of the polish residue that's left after you polished. And then we'll go ahead and apply the coating. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we went ahead and did step 1, which is wiping down the ski, or if it's really dirty, you can go ahead and wash it. We're jumping straight to step 2, which is clay bar. And I'm going to be doing just this section here of the black, just to show you how to do it, since the ski's fairly new. I won't really spend too much time on this step, but you basically get a clay bar. I'll leave a description to the one I like. It's a Meguiar's mild clay bar, their professional line, but this is just a gold one that I have with me today. But I like to get it into a 2x2 square, fairly flat. And then what I'll do is I'll lubricate the surface. But we'll use our square clay bar and glide it against the paint in straight lines, applying very minimal pressure. You don't want to push on it or anything. You just want it to glide across the paint. That way you're not being too aggressive and potentially pushing any contaminants that you're picking up with the clay bar back into the paint. So you just kind of want to go over the entire surface, but you'll go ahead and do a small area like this, say a 2-foot by 2-foot area, or roughly about that big. You'll want to grab your clay bar and knead it, so you'll have a new fresh surface for your next area. And you just go ahead and wipe it down before you move to the next spot. Then you'll go ahead and repeat that process for the entire ski, and then we'll be jumping to step 3. All right, and since I do detailing for a living, I have access to a lot of cool tools like the Rupes Hybrid Nano and all their polishes. So I'll be using their ultra fine polish, which is their least aggressive. But I wanted to show some other options that you can get at the store that are really good for applying polish by hand. And I really like the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish and their Ultimate Compound. And compound is always going to be more aggressive than a polish. So I'd really only use this on some water spots that are really caked into the paint and can't be removed with the polish first. Like I said, always start with the least aggressive option and then jump up as you need to. And I always like to mention, when doing any type of paint correction or polishing, especially with a machine, I will be working all the flat surfaces, and then I will be doing the edge by hand. That way I don't risk burning through the paint, because even with the least aggressive option, I could still probably burn through this paint if I just sat on this edge and ran it for a long enough time, because the paint is always thinner on these edges. But let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you guys how to do it by hand. All right, we're going to start the paint correction process here in the front, specifically this black area, and I'll be doing it by hand just so you guys can see how I would do it. And when polishing, you always want to have flashlights to see how your correction is going. And as you can see here, This is a fairly new ski, and it definitely has some swirl marks that we're going to try to correct today and get it looking good. So when polishing paint, like I said, you always start with your least aggressive option. And I kind of wanted to show the pattern that I use. That way I have even coverage of the polish across the paint, and I know I'm not creating any new high spots or low spots in the paint finish. So when I'm correcting, I do a circular motion as I'm going. So I'll snake it back and forth just as I work my way down, and then I'll come back, go all the way up, down, and back up again for this little small of an area. And that way I know I've got even coverage of the polish on this little surface area here. So you can see as I go, I'm doing the circular motion, and then when I come back up, I've evenly applied the polish. And I do this method for both hand polishing and machine polishing, and typically does pretty good results. And you always want to check your work as you go. You aren't going to be able to see as much when the polish is on there, but once you've buffed the polish off, you can see that the finish is fairly good there. All right, so you might have noticed that I did have to jump to a little bit more of aggressive of a pad, but you can get good results with just using the least aggressive. Really just what you're going for. If you're going for 80%, 90% perfection, but you can see the paint is a lot better. You're going to have some slight swirls. Some of those deeper ones aren't going to come out unless I go really aggressive, but it does look significantly better. And I'm not really wanting to take too much paint off of this ski. I just kind of want to give it good adhesion with the coating. So we're going to call that good enough. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the ski, and then we'll jump to step 4. All right, so we just finished polishing the ski. Now we're moving on to step 4, which is applying the IPA solution to the ski, and that will remove the rest of the polish residue on the paint and allow the ceramic coating to properly adhere to the best of its ability. IPA is isopropyl alcohol. Generally I like to get the 91%, and you can get this at like Walmart or Kroger's. And what I like to do is dilute it with water to bring the IPA percentage down to roughly about 15 to 20%. That way it's not too aggressive or harsh on the paint, and will still properly remove all of the polish residue. So we'll go ahead and make up a little batch of it to spray on the ski, and then we'll do a quick wipe down, just like applying any detail spray. We'll just wipe her down, and then she'll be ready to go for the coating. All right, so as I'm applying the IPA solution and wiping it down, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about some of the other factors in applying a ceramic coating, such as climate. So as you see, I'm in a heated garage. It's roughly about 70 degrees in here, and a lot of the coatings do have recommended minimum temperatures for the application and for the entire curing process. Luckily this coating's pretty quick. It's only about 24 hours before it's fully cured. Some of the coatings do take a lot longer, but generally speaking, you do want to have it in a climate controlled area throughout the entire application process and curing process of the coating. Generally it's always better to wait longer before introducing it to the elements than earlier. Like the CarPro C-Quartz UK 3.0 that I used for all the other skis. It was a minimum of 2 days before we could take it out on the water. This one is going to be like one day, but it'll be interesting to see the hydrophobic ability of this one and how it compares to the other one. And I'm really excited for the application process because that was the biggest headache with the Car Pro version. And that's about it for doing the IPA solution. Like I said, you're just basically wiping down all the spots that you're looking to coat to remove any of the leftover polish that you've applied. All right, now we're ready for the application process. So we have our application pad and our coating. It's always best to shake it up. So shake your coating before you apply it. And once you open this bottle, generally you have a very short time. Generally it's about a week or maybe a month, depending on the coating, before the coating is no longer good. So always keep that in mind when you are applying this. If you think you're going to have extra and want to do something else, always apply it around the same time if you can, because these coatings, once they're opened, they don't last very long. Now, like I said, I've never applied this coating before, so it'll be interesting to see how it applies. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of put a large amount on this pad, saturate the pad pretty well, and then we're going to go ahead and apply it. And when applying the ceramic coating, you always want to go in a crosshatch pattern. And that way the surface is level. And this one you will apply till the surface feels slick, which the surface is feeling pretty slick, so I'll go ahead and stop here in a second. All right, and while I'm wiping off the first little section of this coating, I wanted to talk about the flash period on coatings and how this one reacts. So generally, like a flash period on a regular ceramic coating can be anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. And at that point, there'll be a rainbow effect across the paint that you've applied it to, which will kind of look like oil, like on water, how it kind of like has that rainbow effect. And it'll look kind of just like that on the area that you've applied it to. And then that would be the sign to go ahead and start wiping it off and buffing it off. And with different coatings, there's kind of different levels of how hard you have to press or rub to get them off. This one's super easy, and this one is a little bit different. It actually sweats after it's like done its flash, so it kind of has like a little bubbly effect and looks like kind of dull, where the finish will come from shiny to dull, and that would be the point that you would start to buff the paint. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and keep on going and apply the coating. It's a little bit more difficult on a ski like this because there is a lot of edges, so you can't always get the perfect crosshatch pattern. And with it being white, it's a little bit harder to see. But you just kind of want to go a couple back and forth with the crosshatch and then just let it go. That way you give the coating proper time to dry or flash. But yeah, for this coating, it seems to be about a minute or two, and then it's ready to go. But it's definitely not a like very time sensitive coating like some of the other ones I've worked with. The Car Pro C-Quartz UK 3.0, that one takes about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and depending on your temperature too. But you got like 30 seconds to wipe it off, otherwise it gets harder and harder to wipe off, where this one's, yeah, fairly easy. So I'll show you the sweating effect of the coating. You can see how it kind of flares out the lights. And see how it looks like bubbly almost. It's like, that's why they call it the sweating effect. But at that point, that coating is ready to wipe off. All right, and here's the final product of the ceramic applied. I think it came out really well. The paint looks awesome. It's super reflective and definitely enhanced the mirror finish. You can see the tripod in the background. And then the ski on the other side. And it'll only get better over the next 24 hours as the ceramic cures. All right, and this is how we ceramic coat our jet skis. I just wanted to show the entire process and how we get the results that we do. We've actually had pretty good luck with the other skis, so it'll be fun to see how long this one lasts. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.